Hey guys, Youngblood with you, bringing you another loadout video, and this time it's all about the Dakka. And as you could probably guess, this is going to be throwing 4 mantises on a Sabre and letting all hell break loose. Now, I mentioned before that these videos would either be just kind of fun loadouts or effective loadouts or just plain interesting, and I'd put this one mostly in the fun category because while it's fairly effective, it is going to be fairly limited in the options that you have available to you as well. The Sabre was a natural choice for this kit because you had the ability to bring 4 size 3 weapons, more than many other ships can offer you, and the speed of the Sabre plays a major role in making this more feasible. Now, the Mantis is a ballistic Gatling gun for those of you who don't know, and while it can throw a lot of lead down range, it has 2 major drawbacks, with those being limited range and they're very prone to overheating. Now, equipping the Sabre helps to counteract the range issue some, because the ship is fast and agile, but there's no getting around the overheating issues that these weapons have. Now, that may end up changing once we have more flexibility in the item system, and we can start to see better cooling options of the weapons through cooler upgrades, but today, there's just not much you can do to help yourself out in that overheating regard. Now, there are a few things that are making this Dakka loadout more effective right now than you can count on long term, with the first being the glitched shields on the Sabre. Now, since you need to get in close and deal your damage, you're likely going to be taking damage during this time frame, and because the Sabre is fast and can get out of danger relatively quickly, your shields are going to recharge and you're ready to go again, meaning that jousting with this setup isn't a huge issue. The other thing that works for this right now is the fact that ballistics seem to ignore shields for the most part, meaning that you can earn damage points on almost every single pass, as opposed to something like a laser repeater where you have to eat through the shields before you can start earning those damage points. Now sure, a burst is probably only going to net you 8 to 12 points depending on how much you can actually land, but it's certainly better than nothing. Picking your targets with this loadout is pretty important, at least from what I've been able to tell so far, meaning that Super Hornets and slower ships like that with decent hitboxes are much easier targets. Fighting ships like Sabres or Gladiuses or Racers can be a bit more challenging when you're using this setup. But regardless of your target, the best thing that you can really do is to try and get on someone's tail, but also a bit above or below them, so when they're making a banking turn, you get the full flat side of their ship. Now, my personal biggest struggles with this setup have been waiting to let the weapons actually cool down so I can put more sustained damage on target as opposed to constantly having to burst the weapons and let them cool and then burst and let them cool. It's hard to do mentally, at least for me, but when you get a long sustained firing opportunity with all 4 cannons rolling and landing shots, you end up melting targets pretty quickly with this setup. Now, you could also probably mitigate this a bit by using 2 weapon groups and firing one till they overheat, then move to the other group, giving you 2 cannons firing at almost all times. And I'll probably end up giving that a shot because I just kind of thought of it right now. But theoretically, it keeps sustained fire through, even though you're getting less output of damage when all 4 cannons are firing at the same time. Now, the other topic I haven't mentioned yet is with these being ballistic weapons, especially with a high rate of fire, if you're decent at staying alive, you're gonna run out of ammo at some point, and that ends up being kind of a bummer. So I would say this loadout is moderately effective, but there are certainly better options for the Sabre at this moment. Now, it is a decent option for getting points, but more than anything, it's just a fun option to mix up gameplay a little bit. So if you haven't tried this setup, I think it's a hell of a lot of fun. Give it a shot. If you have questions about the setup, let me know. If there's recommendations or certain things you want to see, let me know about that as well. Otherwise, stay tuned for a whole lot more content coming soon. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.